Wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, welcome back. It is it is Wednesday. Yes, I'm starting to lose track of the days. I'm getting back from Wonderfest, and I uploaded the video last night, and boy, it took all night to upload, so I'm going to have to see what I need to do about that. Either get a faster connection here at home or make shorter videos, one of the two. But anyway, I'm putting stuff away, and I wanted to show you about a problem that I run into now. On a scale of problems, it's more on the line of, gee, my wallet's too fat and my gold bars are too heavy, than it is I don't have food or a place to stay tonight. So granted, I call it a problem, but it's a problem that everybody who's ever won anything in the last 10 years from Wonderfest also faces, and let me show you what it is. Okay, here is the standard award that I'm trying to keep the camera reflection out of the award. It is a very nice, solid glass, very heavy piece of an award. It says Gold Award, Wonderfest Hobby Expo. But what it doesn't say is what year it is, nor does it say what category it was. So if you have to have the problem of winning too many awards, after a while, if you don't keep it with the kit all the time, you might lose track of what it was and for what year. Like I say, it's good for Wonderfest because they buy a metric ton of them at one time, and they don't have to worry about customizing them. So they make a good financial decision there. But it leaves us poor winning modelers, oh, pity us, pity us. It leaves us with a problem of how to differentiate. So I thought what I would do was, while had the vinyl cutter out, I would go ahead and cut some vinyl, match the font and everything, that told me, hey, it's 2016 and it was a vehicle. So I'm going to basically do that to the rest of these and to the others, and it's just vinyl that I stuck on from the back. You plot it backwards and then you stick it on from the back. It's how they do window decals. See, you can't scratch it off because it's on the back. But that's how I'm going to do the little bronze awards and the silver awards and all that, just so that I know, hey, if I ever move this around, that's what that's for. So the things you do. And here is the class of 2016 before I start putting everything away. I wanted to get everything out of the box, make sure there was no damage from the trip back, and I think there was just one landing gear issue with the Raptor that I had to address. But everything else made it back in one piece, or in as many pieces as it was supposed to go with. I was really afraid that one of these guys was going to snap off on the derelict, but it came through with flying colors. So now I've got to find shelf space for everybody. Well, greetings. It's a Friday afternoon, and I'm recording on a Friday afternoon because I can. I don't have to be at work. Yes, I'm enjoying this beautiful stretch of weather we've had the last few days. So people have asked me, okay, well, you've done all these things. What are you going to build next? What's next? And I decided to go into the stash and find something that would be a pretty quick build, not too elaborate, because, I'm easing back in. I don't want to jump onto a really complicated project right away. Something that would be fun to build, fun to paint, and will be nice and impressive when I'm done. So this is what I've chosen. It is the Captain Cardboard Atomic City Botany Bay ship kit. And it's I've already taken some of the paper towel off of everything and started to clean up some parts. But it is a very basic build. Not too many parts, not too complicated of a job to do. And I think it's going to go together pretty quickly. I'll certainly get it done, most of it done this weekend. Maybe to the priming stage. I may even get it painted. I don't know because I haven't started yet. But that's the victim for this week. So let's go take a closer look at it. The joys of a selfie stick. This would be a good time to put in the pictures from the Wonderfest. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set them up to go fairly quickly and caption anything that I think needs explaining. But you can certainly hit the pause on your video if you want to suck in the goodness of some of these builds. I saw some really tremendously good builds. And I'm kind of leaning on waiting because a pal of mine also took some pictures, and I might want to It might happen in the weeks to come then, if he's got better pictures of something than I do, because his interests are different than mine, and he tends to take pictures of things that I don't. Between the two of us, we probably have everything covered. So what I'm going to do is put in some of the pictures that I've got this week, and I'm going to try to find some lovely music to go behind it, but I don't know. And then when I see his pictures, I may put them in a future report. So here are the pictures, and when the pictures are over, we'll come back to the Botany Bay. Okay, like I said, it's not the most complicated kit in the world. It's got a few parts. It's that lovely, old-timey, smelly resin, which it's, once you get a hold of that in your blood, you never let go. And this is actually a jig. This is not part of the kit. This is a jig for making the weather vane-y type of panel things on the sides, and this will give you the correct spacing and the orientation for those. So as a good on you, Scott, for making that easier for us model builders. But what these need to do is just have a lot of the edges sanded. It's a very good casting, very flat. Sometimes the problem with resin is it warps, and these are very stable and very flat. They do need to have those edges sanded, and it will allow me to play with my newest toy, which is a right edge clamp magnet table thing that will allow you to glue things together at right angles to each other. So that's always been one of my sticking points, no pun intended. Sometimes when I'm scratch building stuff is to getting the correct 90-degree angle. So we'll get that out and play with it as the time warrants. So let's get cracking, shall we? And here's where you can see how handy this is already coming in. It gives me these lovely 90-degree corners on the back wall, and I can pin this in place and butt that up against it. And if these two pieces are the least bit out of 90 degrees, I can force the glue to fill in any gaps that will bring it back up to 90 degrees. So yeah, I'm getting the hang of how these magnets work, because you kind of put them in place and then you waggle them a little bit to finesse the placement of them. But having this standard piece of metal that's got this 90 and this 90 in it is a very handy thing to have around in your shop. Here's an unexpected little benefit. just trying out something. I have one of these little X-Acto tiny rulers, tiny right wing rulers, right angle rulers, and I can use that with the magnet to make sure that this piece here is meeting down in that corner. I can push it all the way up against that, and it will carry this metal edge all the way up to the top, so I can make sure that even though I can't see that corner underneath there, that everything is lined up appropriately. So yay! Okay, rather than I've got the 3 parts on the bottom. I've got 1, 3, and 5 in, because those are the fixed things that will never change. If this has any twisting or racking to happen, I want to make it up out of these 2 pieces. So what I've gone ahead and done is attach the front to this bottom piece, and I'm going to do the same with the 2 sides. And you can see where it doesn't necessarily want to lay down flat, so I want to bake those in. I want those joints to be accurate, and then any twisting or racking is going to happen in these 2 otherwise flat panels, and I think that's going to be easier to make up any irregularities in or fill in any gaps that might happen as a result. So let me get this front glued to the other 2 sides, and then we can fill in the bottom, and the last bits will be the tops of this cargo module, and then this chunk will be done. I can get it ready for seaming. And here you go, one grade A Botany Bay cargo section. And I stand by my my method of doing the alternating sections, doing the 2 outsides in the center, and then making these guys fit. I did have to do some sanding, especially on the edges, the seams here, to get them to fit in there. And I think if I had tried to build these 5 around here and then fit this on the top, it would have been a lot harder to justify everything together. So word to the wise, if you're building this kit, put the back plate on the middle, the 2 ends in the middle, and then work these guys in. Now, yes, there are a couple of wonky seams, but that's why the good Lord gave us Bondo. That's just the way the kit's made. Those seams are tighter than they look right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drizzle some, here, whether you can see the seams on the inside. Obviously the gaps are wider on the inside than they are on the outside because of the way these angles are built into the panels. You can see them here. You can kind of get an idea of what that seam looks like on the inside. It meets out here, but there's a gap in there. So I'm going to drizzle some 5-minute epoxy in there to further cement those lines, all puns intended, and copyright Lou Dalmaso. But what I'm going to do is put some, just to belt and suspenders, put some 5-minute epoxy in those seams. And then it will be ready for the first attack of the Bondo and some primer. But went together very well. For as an old of a kit as this is, I was afraid that it had encountered some warpage over the years since I had had it and not put it together, but it seems to be coming together quite nicely. And you can see this coming along quite nicely. I'm still on Friday afternoon, enjoying the sun and getting outside and listening to the birds and watching the blue sky. It went together well. I will tell you it involved a little bit of this to get some of these pieces that weren't square to each other to match up. Now this piece back here is a, if there's a right angle on it, I can't find it. It is a pillow of a shape, and it's got all kinds of curves and whatnots and is not really all that square. So there was some fudging involved, I will tell you that, in order to get everything to kind of line up Discovery style, to get everything square. It does kind of kick up in the back. It kind of kicks up that way in the back, but only so much of that you can do. Like I said, it's got a weird compound curve on the back of it, so hopefully by the time the fins get on there, that'll help disguise some of that. But now what I need to do is drill a hole in it to put the brass rod so that I can make a a Botany Bay sickle out of it. And basically I need to drill a hole up through there and into the pencil. Now this is not joined up. Obviously I need to do the seaming and the puttying on this first, but I want to line everything up so that I can drill the hole there and then continue the hole up into here. Sorry, getting some backlighting up into here, and then I can go ahead and start puttying some seams and putting all the tiny little hole details on here that have yet to go. So yeah, maybe if I take it out of the sun indirectly, you can see what's going on. But yeah, going together again, this is another one of those, throw it up in the air and make the 2001 bone out of it. So, and that front of it always looks like a sharpened pencil to me. It always looks like a pencil. So let's get a hole drilled. And success, we now have a functional Botany Bay sickle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this thicker bit of brass in the ship, and then I'm going to put it on or over top of a smaller diameter so that I can turn it. But yeah, that does it. That does the trick. Now I can go ahead and putty up some seams. And here's where we're going to call it for the evening on Friday for the Botany Bay. Not bad for having it be a pile of resin pieces just this morning. I've got the whole body built, and I've got a first coat of primer on it, and I have started to work on the puttying in the seams and such and whatnots. And I've got the little veins to build and put on, but those will be put on after the last bit of paint is on, because those are very delicate and will snap off in a stiff breeze. So we're not going to be going too nuts with putting those on early. But I've got a lot of seams to feather in, and once I get the body and the pod done separately to my liking, then I will join them together. Excuse me. I will join them together and take care of that this gap or this seam right in here. And then there are 4 tiny wee bits of resin that go in here to act like clamps for the open spots, but I can't put those on until I have joined those 2 sections together. And then it will be down to the painting. I've got the post in. I need to come up with a base. I'll do that tomorrow. Go pick up some wood at Lowe's or something, or Michael's, I don't know which. But I need to do that because I am running out of ways to hold this up. It doesn't want to lay on its back very well. I mean, it will, but I'm damaging some details when I do that. But you can still see where I need to finish hitting things with primer. But like I said, not bad for the first day. When I get up in the morning, I will put these veins together and kind of work on the little fiddly bits and progress it from there. So good night, good news, see you tomorrow. Well, good morning and welcome back. It is Saturday, and I am continuing work on the Botany Bay. I have to do some scratch building for parts that were not included in the kit, and that is these extra little panels here that go on the back wall. They are just scratch built out of 0.2, I believe, 0.20 sheet styrene. And they are not symmetrical. They need to go on each of the panels. Scott provides a illustration on his website to print them out, but I decided to go one better than that, and I printed it out, and then I cut it in vinyl so that I could stick the vinyl down to the sheet styrene and cut it out that way. So what I'm doing is I am carefully placing. I have remembered to number them so that I know which panel they go on, and I don't have to do a bunch of needless test fitting. They are meant to go with the inside walls are numbered. Obviously 3 is in the center no matter which way you go, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me double check that. Yes, 1, 2, that's correct. So I need to pick the number 5 and like that, and you know. So before I decided whether or not it was worth trying to finesse that seam a lot, I needed to see whether it was going to end up being covered by this panel, and mostly it is, so that's going to take care of a lot of needless sanding. So I'll get these guys on and then get another coat of primer on. I've been touching up some seams and putting some Bondo in, and it'll be ready for another coat. Over here we have, from where we left it last night, we have the main body and down the length of it, and I've got the details added on to the back bit, which dresses it up a little bit and takes some of that oddness of its shape away. And I think what I need to do today is run out to Lowe's first thing, or Michael's, I'm not sure which, and get a wooden base for this, because I realized it is cumbersome to be moving and working on this without it sitting on a base. So that's job one, and that's where we are till now. Well, very well. We've got the this panels put on, the plating put on the back of the cargo module, and now we're going to hit it with a coat of primer to blend it all in, get rid of some of this seam work, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so the last little bit of construction on the Botany Bay are these little brackets that are meant to go to hold the screens up, the 4 screens up on the back array. And again, easier than trying to transfer these designs to the scrap plastic was to just cut them in vinyl and stick them down to the plastic, and then use the vinyl as a template to trim them out, and then remove the vinyl. So there you go. I just had to do 8 of these, which makes it a lot easier than trying to cut them by hand. Okay, here's the last of the delicate little fiddly bits for the Botany Bay. I'm using the jig that Scott provides. Gives you very good results. Ooh, I just noticed how crooked that is. I may have to straighten that out. Yikes, that's horrible. The rest of them seem to be okay. Yeah, straighten that one out. And now to get a little coat of paint on these. And we're coming up on Saturday evening, mid-evening, and this is where we are on the Botany Bay. It's done. Well, I mean, it's all built. There's the last little bit, and these, of course, will go on after everything is painted. But what I need to do now is I still have time tonight. I think I'm going to run out and get the piece of wood I need to make that stand so that it can sit and dry upon it. You can tell it's mostly done. I'm fairing in these little swoops, and smoothing that down and putting more putty and smoothing it down. So, but to put a real good coat of primer on it, I need to sit it up on a base. So that's what I think I need to do. So enough talking. Let's go do it. Well, I decided instead of going out to get a base, I would look around and see what kind of scrap I have had. And I found something. So I cut a couple pieces, little chamfering, little cutting, brass pole down the center, and as soon as that dries, we'll be good to go. I can sit this puppy right on the base, and I think it'll look just spiffy. It means I might not get another coat of the primer on tonight while I'm waiting for this to dry, but as the French say, c'est la vie. So everyone, c'est la vie, la vie. Well, there is the Botany Bay on its stand, and it is infinitely easier to work on it this way, since I can swing it around and sand and not worry about setting it back down on wet paint or anything. So we'll let this sit overnight, come back to it first thing in the morning, one last sanding, and then another coat of primer before I go to church, and then we'll see what the afternoon brings. Okay, I have to stop for a minute and just say, wow. I thought this paint might work, but boy, it turned out much better than I had hoped for. This is Valspar. Paint and primer flat, and the color is rugged. I don't really have much of an affection for these paint and primer combo spray cans, because usually the paint comes out way too gloppy and thick. So I got a can of this on just on a hunch, and I used it to spray. You can see the Gorn is in many pieces over there. I used it to spray the base on the Gorn, which is that Vasquez Rocks Desert Tan, just as a trial to see how it would go on and how it would dry before I applied it to the Botany Bay. And it came out okay on that, so I thought I would try. And boy, howdy, look how smooth that went on. That's almost like auto paint. That's how smooth that is. So now that that's on that, I'm going to put a coating of it on the cargo pods and let them dry this afternoon. And maybe before this is all cut together this evening, I will put the cargo pods and glue them in place. It's Sunday afternoon, by the way. And here we are. It is mid-Sunday afternoon. I think I'm going to cease work on this for a little while. I've got the last little bit of scratch built detail there. I've got this joined to this, most importantly, and I've got the little clamps that kind of have to wait till these two are put together before you can glue them on. So those clamps are on. I got a little strand of tulip going in there to kind of close up that gap. It's a little bit more than I would like. It's supposed to be a seam, obviously, but I want to fill it in a little bit. And then I'll go around here with a dusting of some gray to mimic the primer that's underneath it, and then one more coat of the general brown on top of everything before we start to weather, which will not happen today. Hopefully by the end of the evening I will get the gray on here, but more likely I'll wait till the morning because I'm in no rush, and there's no sense rushing something if you've got no rush. But what I want to do is take about 2 inches off of here so that this sits closer to the base, and probably maybe put a coat of paint on the base tonight. Okay, and here's the base with a couple of coats of sandable black primer on it. And then I'll put a gloss coat of black over top of that in the morning. And there's the Botany Bay ready for its painting in the morning, in which I will touch over some of these last bits and then give it one more good sanding, and then the top coat of this brown. And then it will be ready for weathering. And that's going to do it. Weird weekend, working as I want to and the times that I want to, and I will upload this tonight instead of the old method, which meant I had to go into the office and upload. But it takes a lot longer these days to upload things, so I'm going to get an earlier start on it. So until next week, when we start the weathering on the Botany Bay, I hope you enjoyed the photos from Wonderfest of this year. I hope you like what I'm doing with the Botany Bay. So until next week, be good to each other, have fun, and we'll see you here next week.